Hi Mel, Stephanie. Today I'm going to be breaking down an introduction to yoga. For anyone that is just starting a yoga practice or maybe you struggle with just certain postures, today is a really good day for you to get involved. Before I do start, I'd like to just suggest a few props. One is a strap. Now if you don't have an actual strap, don't worry about it. You can use a scarf, you can use a tie. Most of us probably have one or the other laying around the house, or quite frankly, even a big long towel, if worst comes to worst. And then also 2 blocks. We're gonna set one block here at the top of our mat, and then I'd like you to set the other block at the back of your mat, like so. Just somewhat similar to what I'm setting up here. And also, if you do have any injuries going on in your body, then please definitely consult a physician before you start a yoga practice. But with that being said, I'm super excited that you're here and I'm excited that you're starting your yoga journey. No time like the present. So, when we start a practice, the most important part is breath. That's where it all began. It just helps calm the mind, it helps center us. So what I'm going to do is have you sit in a comfortable seat. For me, I'm just going to sit as I am. However, seated in a cross-legged style is more comfortable for you, that works really great too, okay? With that being said, place your hands wherever you are, whether your legs are in crisscross applesauce or you're in a seated posture such as I am. Place your hands down. Let's ground ourselves to our mat, the 4 corners. Close your eyes and just simply breathe. Don't worry about finding a particular style of breath. I'm going to guide you into what is called an Ujjayi breath technique, also known as a pranayama, that you may hear in some classes that you'll take in the future. Lengthen through your spine. Think of energy, light source coming through the crown of your head. And lengthen all 4 sides of your waist if possible. The palms go down to allow a grounding sensation into our body and our mind that will complement with the breath that we're about to take. We'll take a series of breaths here. First, empty out your lungs all the way, just like you're deflating a balloon. Close your lips and inhale through your nose. Draw the breath in. Go past your throat and into your lungs. Pause and hold. Audibly exhale, just let it go. And we'll take 2 more just like that. Follow my lead. Inhale, breath in. Filling up all the way into your lung space. Fill it up. And audibly exhale. Big lion's breath. One more like that and we'll change it. As you inhale, draw it in. And let it go audibly. Like you're fogging up a mirror that's right in front of you. This next breath that we're about to take, you can blink your eyes open or keep them shut, and I'll guide you through my words. When we take our exhale, instead of opening your mouth and letting it go, what I'd like you to do is take that same loud exhale, but keep your lips pressed together. Let's begin. Inhale, draw the breath all the way in. Pause and hold. Lips stay sealed and exhale out. You hear that rhythm at the back of your throat? Sounds like the ocean or Vader-like sound. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, draw it in, fill it up. Stay closed and exhale. One more time, you're doing fantastic. It's so new and so fresh. Inhale, breathe in, all the way. Exhale, lips stay sealed, let it go. Blink your eyes open. That is a pranayama breath called Ujjayi. You'll take some time to get used to it. So for now, if you need to breathe in and out slowly through your nose or mouth, it's perfectly fine. Meet me on a tabletop. Come forward, stack your bones. Elbow, wrist, and shoulder. Ideally in a straight line. Spread your fingers wide. And then take a quick peek at your knees and just be sure that they're about underneath your hips and allow the alignment of your feet to also go behind your knees. Now become very aware of what's happening in the body. Did your spine drop into a C curve, or are you able to elongate it into all four sides instead? Think northeast, southwest with rib cage and spine. From here, together, we're just simply going to go into a cat and cow posture. On the inhale breath, drop your belly towards the mat and send your heart forward towards the top short edge of your mat. And as you exhale, draw your chin in towards your throat, round your spine into a flexion. And inhale, drop the belly, lift up through the sternum, and draw your shoulders down the sides of your back. And exhale, round your spine, find your cat stretch. One more time, on your inhale, your belly falls down, you come into this final spinal extension, heart forward. Exhale, round, and draw the belly all the way up. Inhale, find your way into tabletop pose. Simply sit back towards your heels. Sweep your legs to one side, either side your right. Walk forward slightly so your feet will remain down and hip distance. Hold on to the backs of your legs and then just come all the way onto your back. And be sure your strap, scarf, towel, whatever you're using is nearby. Once you're on your back, place your arms alongside you and walk your feet to the edges of your mat. Let your knees be right above your heel space and then lift your tailbone slightly up off the mat, just about an inch or two, and then lower it back down. And you may have gotten a little more length into your vertebrae. Just breathe. Your eyes can be open or closed. Relax your facial muscles. And as you inhale, drop your knees in a stagger fall over to the right side, just about halfway. Is very nice. And slowly come back up. Knees are still wide. And lower your knees over to the right side. And guide your knees back up to the roof. And over to the left side. And straight up. And over to the right side. And lift all the way up. Walk your feet hip width, just toe heel them in. Grab a hold of your strap. And you're going to ball, mound, strap up, heel up, toes towards the nose. And you're going to slide your hands down your strap all the way to the back. Your arms actually touch the mat and they frame your ribs. Now draw your shoulders down. Sometimes they go lifted, but see if you can draw them down as your anchor. Heel is up, toes are towards your nose still. Breathe. Notice in your flexion, your dorsiflexion of your foot, you elongate the back of your leg. Achilles heel, calf, hamstring. Now, ideally, the left leg can stay bent, or you have the option to lengthen and bump. You decide. Flex your left foot as well if you decided to extend it. Now put a little micro bend into your right knee. And exhale, press it away. Foot is still in flexion towards the roof. And inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale, press away. 1 more here, and we'll take an add-on as you breathe to bend. Lengthen to extend. And take the strap, both ends into the right hand. Place your left palm of hand on top of your left thigh. So it somewhat is going to be just like a little added weight onto the thigh to stay grounded down. On the breath in, rotate your right toes out, heel in toward your inner thigh space, and draw your right leg to the right halfway and hold. Now notice if your left hip really hiked up, here's an example, and then draw it back down, which may mean that the right leg doesn't go so far to the right side. That's all right. Now just hold here and rotate your toes open a little bit more. If you need to bend the knee slightly, feel free to do so. Press your heel away. Breathe. Notice how your breath is. Notice how your body feels. Good. And use your right inner thigh to draw your leg right back up.
and rotate your foot back to neutral. Now place both ends of the strap in the left hand. Right hand, see the L shape with my fingers, index and thumb? I'm going to place it right in the hip crease of my right hip and just kind of elongate the right side body. Now take a look at your right big toe and turn it to the left and your heel to the right, so you're in this internal rotation. Now take your left hand and guide your right leg over to the left hand side. Make sure your thumb and index stay in the hip crease of your right, so the right hip is still down. Now notice I'm not even going that far to feel a ton of work being done. I'm still internally rotating my right leg all the way from the hip socket, and I'm breathing. Might feel a little bit in that IT band area, a little bit in the sciatic region. Couple more breaths. You're doing so well. Just letting go and beginning such a beautiful yoga journey. Awesome. Now lead through your right heel and draw your leg right back above your right hip. Rotate your foot to neutral. Take one end of the strap in each hand. Bend your left knee and place your left foot flat on the mat again. Now, extend your left leg all the way up into the strap and just bring your right foot onto the mat so we can switch our sides. Notice the back of my arms are down onto the mat once again, and they're somewhat framing my rib cages on the outer right and left sides of my body. My cervical spine, which is the back of my neck region, is long. My chin doesn't kink up or tuck too far in. Flexion in the foot. Option to keep the right leg bent, or feel free to lengthen and extend through the heel of the right as well. My heel touches the mat, by the way. And bend your left leg about 2 inches and just simply exhale, send the energy out. And gently bend. We'll take 3 more. And extend. And 2 more times. Bend. And lengthen. And last and final one, bend and extend. Place both ends of the strap into your left hand. My palm of right will just place itself right onto my right leg. I'm going to rotate my left toes open and my heel in. So this is external rotation. And simply guide your left leg over the left side. But be mindful of the right hip. Remember that hiking up so you can see me. This is when it's hiked. Now I want you to just draw it back down and notice my left leg must come back to make that happen. Breathe. One more breath. And use your left inner thigh to just simply come all the way back up. Bring both ends of the strap into the right hand. Now the L-shaped thumb and index of my left hand are going to place themselves in the crease of my left hip. Therefore, I feel this nice length right away when I do it. Now internally rotate with left big toe in, left heel away, and guide with the right hand, the left leg to the right. Breathe. And it may feel the same, it may feel very different. Both sides of our body, I always like to say, they tell a story. Just tune into the sensations as they will become very heightened during our practice here together. And through the left heel, guide all the way back up. Come back to neutral with your foot, one strap in each hand. And then bend your left leg, bend your right leg, place your foot flat, and remove the strap. Probably won't really need the strap again. I would just set it off to the side. Then all you'll do is roll over to your favorite side. I'm going to choose my right today. And press your way all the way up and back into our tabletop shape. Hands stack, knees under hips. Take your time. There's never a rush. You can feel free to move around. Sometimes it's nice to just rotate right and left. And scoop your navel in and engage your underarms down the sides of your back. On your next inhale breath, lengthen your right arm forward, thumb is up, and your left leg back. So we're just gonna hold in this posture. You can always lower the ball of your left foot down if that feels better in alignment purposes, or feel free to lift it up. Left thumb is grounded down with my index onto the floor under my shoulder. Right thumb faces up, just like you're reaching out to shake somebody's hand. And my left pinky toe rotates down so my hips stay facing the same direction on the mat. Draw your left knee back underneath the hip. Place your right hand back underneath your shoulders. Let's do a cow-cat in between. Inhale, the belly falls and the heart lifts. Exhale, round and breathe. Inhale, find your way back to neutral posture. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lengthen the left arm forward, palm is in. Right leg back, option 1, toes on the mat. Option 2, to lift your leg up. Now notice left thumb is up. Right thumb and index are grounded. My right pinky toe rotates down just slightly so that my hips stay in alignment. Now scoop the low belly in. I just was able to lift myself up a little bit there too. And guide your right knee underneath your hip, left hand underneath your shoulder. Fantastic. Walk your fingertips slightly forward in front of your shoulders. Curl your toes under onto the mat. And let's make our way to our first downward facing dog, which looks like an inverted V. So lift your hips and guide your heels toward the back edge of your mat and your chest toward your thighs. So bent knees for tighter in the lower back. And notice my chest is going towards my thighs. Some of us might want to be up here a little bit, and we all start somewhere. So eventually, just become very aware of where your body is, how it feels in this shape. Your knees have that bend continuously. Your chest is drawn back. Awesome, you're doing so well. Just remember to breathe. We hold some of the postures, but we always remember to breathe. Good, let's come right back down into tabletop. Lower your knees. Walk your hands towards the top edges of your mat. So notice I'm coming forward and hinging. And then I'm going to come all the way down onto my belly. When I lower down to my belly, uncurl your toes and press them down onto the mat. Hip width will be best. Walk your fingertips back to where your elbows somewhat stack your wrists. And then draw your elbows into the body. I always say it looks a little bit like cricket legs, you know, when a cricket is on the ground. So they're snuggled in. As you inhale here, we're going to come into low cobra. Lift your chest and your chin. Draw the belly off the mat and pause and hold. And lower down. Let's do that again. Spine angle. Inhale, lift chin and chest. It's just low. You want to think of engaging your quadriceps, and maybe the knees will perhaps lift up off the mat. Feet do not in low cobra. And lower down. One more time, just like that. Get used to the sensation. Inhale, lift shoulders, chest, and chin. Exhale, lower back down. Curl your toes under onto the mat. So you can either press your way up to that plank pose that we were in very briefly, or lift your chin, chest, hips, knees, and travel back to our inverted V, downward facing dog shape. Feet are hip width or even wider if your hips feel they need more space. Knees are bent, head is between the biceps, and I breathe. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to look between your thumbs and baby toe steps to the front of the mat. Nice, generous bend. My feet remain hip width, and I'm in this forward fold when I arrive. Toes on the mat. Hold opposite elbows. And just breathe. And maybe you'd like to rotate just a little to the right side through torso, through center and over to the left side. And right side. And left side. So we call this ragdoll. The head falls between our biceps and it looks as if it's in a picture frame. Release the hands and place them down onto your mat. For today's practice, we'll keep our feet the distance of our hips and we'll begin our breath in here with our first half lift. Place your hands on your shins, keep a bend in the knee. Now as you push your shins back, your spine lengthens long. So you notice that length that you just saw. So here I started, but when I pressed back, I elongated. Crown of head forward, beautiful. Exhale, forward fold, just like we were. Fingertips in line with toe tips. Let's take a half lift, second time around. Inhale, hands to shins. Keep the inhale going as you lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. This time we'll stand all the way up tall. Inhale, press heavy through your feet. Bend your knees, lift your arms all the way out to the side and go all the way up. Exhale, arms alongside you. Mountain pose. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, lift your arms out and up. We reverse the order. On the exhale, draw your arms out wide, bend at your knees, hinge at your hips and fold. Half lift. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise. Inhale, feet ground, arms go out. We lift up, rebounding. Exhale, mountain pose, arms by side, palms face forward, shoulders back and down. How do you feel? Pretty good, I hope. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, fold, bend, hinge, breathe. Just ride the breath all the way. Take your time. Inhale, take a half lift. And as you exhale, hands go down. Step back through high plank pose. Option to hold plank or lower your knees to the mat. And you're going to lower chest, chin, hips. Low cobra pose. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, chest and chin down. Curl your toes under and ripple wave back up to plank or press right up to plank. To downward facing dog once again. Hips are high, heels are low, bend so you're in this nice soft shape. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tiptoe your feet all the way to the top of your space. Again, feet behind wrist creases, therefore they're hip distance as well. Inhale, half lift, long in the spine. Exhale, we'll root to rise once again. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, arms by your side, palms forward. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, like you're swan diving. Maintain length in your spine, forward fold. Half lift, elongate. So I've been teaching you low cobra variation of what would be called a Chaturanga Dandasana. On your exhale, place your hands down. I'm going to show you the other way of doing it, of stepping back, lowering to this half plank where my elbows snuggle in like your crooked legs. Inhale, upward facing dog. So upward facing dog. My thighs are lifted, my inner thighs are rotating up towards the roof, and my shoulders glide down my back. This is option 2. And then on my exhale, curl toes under, come back into that inverted V, downward facing dog. So remember, option 1, low cobra. Option 2, upward facing dog. Breathe. As you inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, small baby steps to the top of your mat, forward fold when you arrive. Half lift, elongate. Exhale, forward fold. Let's rise to stand. Inhale, lift up, root up. Exhale, back to mountain pose, palms forward, shoulders draw back. Nice. So place your hands onto your hips. And I'm going to rotate to the right side of my mat to face you. Step your right foot nice and wide onto the mat. A generous stance. Align your toes so they face forward, all 10, and slightly rotate your heels away from the body. Now lift up through your sternum and reach your arms out to a T. When your arms reach out to a T, engage your biceps and triceps somewhat and see if the wrist falls
right near and above the left heel. So here's my left wrist and left heel, right wrist and right heel, pretty close to being in alignment. That's about traditional there. Lift up through your chest, draw the belly button in and breathe. Inhaling, flip the palms all the way up. Look up. On your exhale, bend your knees, hinge at your hips, rotate your palms down and come into a forward fold. When you arrive, come to a half lift here in our forward fold. So come to tips of your fingers, elongate through your spine. Your knees can be bent, that's fine. However, do shift your weight somewhat forward. You notice when you fall back, it feels different. And when you come forward, the back of your legs engaged and forward fold. Walk your fingertips back in line with your toes, drop your head heavy, and notice if your elbows are bowing out and see if you can start to just wrap them in subtly. Still, I'm hinging forward more towards the ball mounds of my feet versus my heels. Good. Now slowly start to lift your way up. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders so they're shoulder width and I'm on the tips of my fingers. Inhale, elongate. Now I'm going to place my hands on my hips, bend my knees a lot, and then roll up, bone by bone. When I get to the top, just give yourself an opportunity to take a breath. Excellent. Bring your arms back out to the T. Make sure your left heel is still rotated away from you and your left toes are rotated in at an angle. Now take your entire right leg all the way right here from your hip socket and rotate it forward towards the back short edge of your mat. And then bend your right knee when you arrive, Warrior Two. When you come into Warrior Two, we're going to set up an alignment. So notice the 5 toes of your right foot, just kind of lift them up off the mat and then place them back down 1 toe at a time. Then my right knee, your right knee, will be above your heel and also in alignment with second or third toe for most of us. Gaze is over your right fingertips, think middle finger territory. Draw your shoulders back, they'll engage, and your collarbones somewhat go forward. Think you're making them smile. Collarbone smile, shoulder blades contract, and hold. So you're pressing the mat away from each other, but without clenching or gripping the mat. The edge of my left foot, the outer side of it, you notice it's pressing into the mat as well. Just like that, good. Breathe. And slowly draw your front leg all the way to straight. And have you walk your left foot in about an inch. So see how I'm toe heeling it in, but it's still at a rotation, about 45 degrees or so. The block that we had at the back of our mat that we placed there, we're going to use that for where we're going for triangle pose. So for triangle, lift up through your waist and inhale, reach forward past your toes. Stay with me. I shifted my left hip really far back, and I'm reaching my right fingertips as far forward I won't be able to reach anymore. And then I exhale all the way down. I'm going to grab my block. This is such an awesome alternative. And place my hand on the highest edge inside my right foot. Now, place your hand down, spiral your right rib cage forward and your left rib cage back, and lift up through the left fingertips. My shoulders are somewhat still stacked. Don't really worry about your hips stacking so much. Get the alignment so the block is nice, and if you even want to lift up higher, you can place your fingertips down. Elongate your waistline. So we have I call it a compass, north, east, south, and west. Think top, bottom, and right and left when you breathe. Keep the integrity of that length, and the back of the left foot is still pressing into the edge of the mat. And lift and engage your calves up from your heels. How are we? Hopefully you're doing awesome. Turn your gaze towards your block if it's not now. Bend your right knee right above your heel. And lift back up to Warrior Two. Don't worry about the block. Straighten your front leg. And then now we're just going to pivot back to forward. You can just kind of take your block and bring it up to the top edge of your mat if you like.
So we're back here in our setup with wide feet, wide arms. And you're going to shift your right heel back a little bit and right big toe in, just like we did on the other side, but this is our second side. Then rotate your whole left leg as if I'm opening you out. Externally rotate it open. Bring your arms out and bend your knee. And just don't be afraid to look at your body and its shape. We don't always have mirrors in our practice rooms. Hot yoga rooms usually do. However, non-heated usually do not. So it forces us to go a little more internally. So it's really important to know what your body feels like when it's in the proper alignment. Wiggle the toes. If you need to bend the knee more, feel free to do so. Now take a look at your left heel. Now if you could draw a line from your heel all the way to the arch of your right foot, would it be in alignment? So Warrior Two is alignment of heel to back arch. Now, if that doesn't feel great on your body and you're having trouble in the hip space, it's okay to have a wider stance. That's not a problem. And you remember where our gaze was. It's over the fingertips, middle finger territory. And remember our collarbones. We shine them forward so they have a nice smile on front. We contract our shoulder blades and we elongate our waist and our neck. And inhale, draw your front leg all the way straight. Just shimmy your right foot to a shorter stance. Triangle pose. As you inhale, shift forward all the way from the hips. Shift that right hip back really far. So see how I'm still reaching, I'm reaching. And then lower down. Grab your block. Highest edge. So let's do the same that we did on the other side, okay? Place the palm of your hand on it. Open as you spiral. See my left rib cage? You can even place your hand on it and then just kind of rotate it forward. See all that length that I even got to? Then lift your right arm up, stack your shoulders. The energy is coming all the way here through the roof. Now the outer edge of my right foot, it's pressing in. And my left big toe, it's pressing into the mat. And the other 4 digits are as well, but they're not gripping like bird on a branch. And I know that sometimes if you know you tend to hyperextend your knees, then you're definitely going to want to have a little bend in your knee, okay? And it might help if you press the big toe even firmer than the other digits if you are a hyperextender. Just keep that in mind. How are we? Breathe. Don't forget that breath. And gently come up. Slow. Look forward over your left hand. Return to Warrior Two like we did. This time around, I'm going to have you place your hands on your hips. I'm going to set the block off the mat so it's not in the way because we're going to step forward. However, very mindful. Just rotate your torso that direction, pivot your back heel, and just step mindfully up at the top into a standing pose. We'll return to our mountain where it all began. Breathe. And inhale, arms go out and up. Forward fold, exhale, bend, hinge, breathe. Inhale, half lift, grow your spine, press the shins. Exhale, place your hands down onto the mat. Remember low cobra or that half plank position. Here's your low cobra posture, coming down and then lifting up, lowering back down, toes under. And then like a wave, ripple up. This time around, yogis, come back into that inverted V shape, downward facing dog, and pedal your legs out. Just offer a nice generous right and left. And then we'll just find stillness here. Lower your knees down. And sit back in child's pose. Child's pose, you can have your knees somewhat outside the hips and sit your hips back towards your heels. Soften your elbows and forearms down and just release your head. Your block could be really great here too. Maybe you just want to rest your forehead on your block, like so. So while you're in child's pose, I'm going to have you there for about 3 to 5 breaths, just depending on the cadence of your breath today. Really important to relax and always come back to center. And last and final breath here in child's pose. Beautiful work. Start to just lift your upper body up. Realign your spine to stack right above your hips with shoulders and head. And sit off to a seat. Sweep your legs forward. You might want to scoot forward a little bit so when we do eventually come onto our backs, you have a lot of room. Bring the soles of your feet together. They call it a butterfly, maybe a diamond shape if you look down at it. So we're going to get into what's called Baddha Konasana in Sanskrit, also known as just seated butterfly. Place your hands right on the front of your shins. Now inhale, lift your spine all the way up. As you exhale, come forward. And be mindful of where you fold. So today, I'm just going to stay pretty higher up. My hips feel pretty tight. So notice it's totally fine if you want to stay lifted. There's no meaning of coming down here, because see how I'm all rounded and crunched up into my shoulders? I like to maintain the length of my integrity of it, my spine. Breathe. Just deep breath. And slowly come all the way up. Take your hands to your outer thighs above the knee. Guide your knees up. Place your feet flat onto the mat. You're going to make sure you have your prop. So even if it's not a block, even a pillow or a towel will be great for where we're going with our butt. Place your hands on the backs of your thighs. And you're going to just slowly, somewhat C-curve your spine and come all the way down onto your backs. Once you arrive, walk your feet closer towards your bottoms. Hip width on the feet still. Lengthen your spine down. Place your hands on your block. We're going to do our lowest level of the block for a supported bridge pose. I'm going to slide it by lifting my hips up all the way underneath where my sacrum is. So your sacrum is right below your tailbone. We all kind of know where our tailbone's at, so just go a little lower. And then relax your spine on it. It gives a sensation of just this melt over all four corners. Turn your palms down alongside you and feel free to walk your feet wider if your hips would like a little more space for your practice today. Let your shoulders just ground themselves down onto the mat and breathe. So remember, if you have your pillow and alternative prop, you just do the same thing. You can roll it up. If you have a pillow that's thicker, feel free to just use that right underneath. It's just like a nice cushion and takes away a lot of pressure in our low back. Good, now go ahead and draw the right knee into the chest and release all 10 fingers right around the front of the shin below the knee and give it a nice good squeeze. So option 1 is to keep the left leg bent. Option 2 is to lengthen it out long. Notice my left heel stays connected to the mat. I don't want to have it up. That's just creating more tension than we need. Relax it down. Just continue to breathe. And bend your left leg if you straightened it. Place your foot flat on the mat. Return your right foot flat on the mat, hip width. Gather your left knee in and release your hands on the shin. Remember, option 1 is knee bent of right. Option 2 is to lengthen it forward, relax it down. It may not feel the same. Remember, each side tells a story, right? Breathe. That's the most important part. I'll remind you a lot. And gather your right foot back on the mat, flat, knee up. Place your left foot back on the mat, knee up. You're going to lift your hips just high enough to set the block off to the side and return your vertebrae back down onto the mat. Once your back is on the mat, gather your knees in towards your chest, one hand on each shin, and just take a nice, generous side-to-side rotation. Right, left, and right. It always feels so good.
And pause at the center. Keep both legs into the chest. Open your arms out to a T shape, so palms down and in line with my shoulders or maybe even lower. Try and avoid coming up too high though, okay? Knees in and lower your knees to the left side of your mat. So this is where your block might come in handy once again, or your pillow, whatever you're using. You can place it on the outer edge of the left outer thigh to let your legs fall onto it without having to go all the way to the ground. My right shoulder is down onto the mat still. You can look over your right shoulder if your neck feels healthy today. Just a gentle spinal rotation. And draw your gaze up. Lift your legs back up. If you used the prop, go ahead and bring it up and place it on the other side. It's nice and ready for us. Arms are out to a T, and let your legs just fall gently over to the right side. Outer right thigh lands on the prop if you're using it. Gaze over the left shoulder. And really start to settle your thoughts and mind. Feel free to start to close your eyes here too. If you turn your head, bring it back. Rotate your legs back through the center of your mat. Hold your hands on the front of your shins once again as your knees draw in and open them wide this time. Cup your hands on the tops of your knees, just soft, and rotate in big circular motions all the way up and around 2 more times, and then we'll switch the direction. Last and final time. And reverse it. 1, and 2, and 3. Gather your legs in. Give yourself a last final squeeze. Tell yourself a kind thought just for showing up on your mat today and beginning your yoga journey. And place one foot at a time down. Open your feet towards the edges of your space. And go ahead and slide one leg at a time all the way along. So we've arrived to Shavasana, called corpse pose, where you're just going to fall heavy into the mat as if you could leave an imprint when you get up from your practice today. Drop your feet heavy, rotate your palms up, and lengthen your arms by your side. Try not to touch any exterior edges of a prop or anything that you're next to. Eyes fall heavy into their sockets. Your jaw is nice and loose. The belly rises with the inhale and it falls on your exhale. The most important part here in the final rest is to do your best not to fidget. So I'm going to challenge you to just stay here for about 1 minute long, and I'll call you back. Start to move and wiggle your fingers and your toes and flutter your eyes and awaken your body. Bend one leg at a time and place your feet flat on the mat. Roll off to your favorite side. You can use your bicep as a pillow. It looks like a fetal position. And press your way all the way up to a comfortable seat. So we'll seal our practice how we started it. Crisscross applesauce is perfectly fine. You can sit on your block or pillow if you'd like. Draw your hands into your heart space, thumbs in, fingertips out. Take an opportunity to close your eyes. Remember your breath. And your first practice is done. It's always such a pleasure to guide and teach those that are wishing to learn. I can't even thank you enough. If you have questions, comments, even requests for a particular posture that you're curious about, definitely don't hesitate to let us know here at Melt. We'll close our practice here. Draw your thumbs towards your third eye. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. As you come up, make it a great day, yogis. Look forward to seeing you again on your mat very soon.